Oh, hey, Darren Elias.
Hey, believe we are back here after some technical difficulties. Maybe the chat can tell us. Looks like wait for people to fill back in here.
Yeah, guys, we are back up and running. Just a couple router issues here on property that we got fixed, and we are ready to roll. So we had some action when we were off camera. Pine Box, thank you for the message that we are back. I think we lost a player. Is that right, Darren?
Yeah, we are back. Thank you, guys. And we lost Q Hang. Actually, got it in good. Queens versus Jack 8 suited of Old Man River, who was prospecting for 2-pair and found it on the river there with Jack 8 suited versus Pocket Queens to knock out Q, and now we're down to 8 players.
And that wasn't a pun. That's his actual nickname according to his player bio sheet.
Old Man River, yes. That's
Old Man River. Well, it worked out for him this time with the 2-pair. All right, guys, thank you for your patience. All of the router and internet issues should be fixed, and we are rocking and rolling.
Yeah, hopefully we're good to go from here. And we got Aaron, chip leader, going to work with Ace-Jack offsuit. And we are back in action. Actually saw Ash here in the 2-seat getting quite active, winning a few pots, too, while we were having some difficulties. Got a 3-bet through with Queen-9 offsuit and defending the King-3 off here versus early position open. These are the players first and second here and chips battling, and you kind of see some of the dangers playing at a position hand like King-3 offsuit against a chip leader here. We'll see how Ash proceeds, but already in a bit of a precarious spot with second pair bad kicker against top pair good kicker.
When you're in this type of situation, how much does playing the only guy at the table that can bust you compared to one of the smaller stacks affect your decisions on each street?
Quite a bit here. You need to be a little more cautious when playing the covering stack. And we'll see if Aaron goes for a little value here. I think after checking back the turn for pot control, this is a spot where an ace should go for value here, and he does to the tune of 600K. Ash with a bit of a decision here, where I think all the options are on the table. Looks like he's cutting out a call, but fold and raise also an option here, I think. After our opponent checks back the turn, we're pretty sure he doesn't have a flush, and most of his value hands will probably be of the ace-X variety, ace-jack, ace-queen. He does pay this off here, so Aaron will win a nice pot.
What sound effect do you want to use for Aaron winning a pot? I mean,
we'll give him a little air horn.
All right, Aaron. Chat. That might be a little loud, but we're going to mess around with some of these sound effects. Mm-hmm. Every now and then, guys, we'll see the clock come up that tells you guys how long we've been running. And now you see the chip counts have evened out a bit, at least among the top two.
Yeah, Ash kind of caught up there and then lost big pot to put Aaron up over 8 million. So he's under the gun here. Looks like we are still playing 100, 150.
We want to welcome back our viewers. I see that chat is getting back to where it was before the internet problem. So welcome. My name is Tom Wheaton with Faded Spade and Above the Felt, joined by the GOAT, Darren Elias, one of the best poker tournament players in the world here in Daytona Beach, who joined Daytona Beach Card Club this weekend for an Above the Felt promotion. He played on the 1025 cash game. I think it was Thursday.
Yep, we had a little 10-25-50 here in this same table. Good action, good rim down here, and now we're commentating the final table of the GAPT main event here, which smashed the prize pool.
200K prize pool, wound up being $386,000, 68,445 going to first place. We do see a small blind and big blind battle here.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here as Ash fires out with the open-ender and a spot where Kevin may choose to continue, may not. He has the back doors and is just going to get out of the way.
So you play in a lot of different states across the country, right? And I know your time in Central Florida has limited, but you've played in Florida quite a lot. Mm-hmm. I know you're going to be going down to play the series in South Florida in the next coming weeks. How does Florida poker, in your mind, compare to poker in Nevada or California or out west?
I think pre-COVID it was similar. Maybe the bigger field events were a little better value, but I think since COVID, Florida has really rebounded stronger than the other states, and the majority of my live poker tournaments are in Las Vegas or Florida at this point. So coming schedule, going to South Florida and then making my first trip to Tampa in September, probably back down here in Florida again at the end of the year. So really impressed with how Florida has responded after COVID, bringing these big tournaments, big prize pools, and this is just another example here. 1,300 runners in this event is fantastic.
And you do see Steve here under the gun +1, just limp with queen 9 of clubs. His stack is about 2.2 million.
Steve throwing down a limp here with about 15 blinds. Steve from Jacksonville. If we were gonna limp a hand here, queen 9 suited, not a bad candidate, just because it does have good flop play where we can flop a number of different options. But he gets hit with a small isolation raise on the button here by ace-8 suited, which I believe he will call here. Yep. So we're gonna see a flop.
We do have a flop at king 5 queen, no clubs.
Yep, we'll see if Ash proceeds again here. I would say he's definitely been our most active player. I don't know if we have Vpip numbers, but Ash definitely been in here getting involved. Gonna throw a little 350 out here on the flop, and I doubt Steve's gonna go anywhere here. His only decision with getting a little less than pot to play here now is, are we gonna play for all the money here on the jack turn, or is Ash gonna shut it down?
It does go check, check.
8 on the river. I doubt we're going to see a value bet here from Steve. Probably going to go check, check if I had to guess, but we shall see. Going to put out a little something here. Interesting, he grabs the chips there before he checks. For anyone looking for live tells, that reaction, maybe sometimes you can get a little something off your opponent when they're don't want you to bet. Oftentimes they will grab some chips and play with them as a bit of a discouraging mechanism. And Ash going to fire 850 here on the river on the 8, and perhaps ranging his opponent to a hand like he has, maybe a queen 10, jack 10, queen X, something like that, and we'll see if Steve can make the call here. Unlikely Ashraf has a flush here, and also with the stacks being so shallow, I don't think he would really need to pot control a hand like ace-king or aces on the turn. I think he would continue to pile the money in with just pot to play. So I think Ashraf repping a pretty narrow and questionable range of hands here. So we'll see if Steve can figure this out.
And tough decision. I mean, it's half his remaining chips, right? So, I mean,
Absolutely.
It's basically...
Yeah, these can be those kind of decisions at a final table where you don't get many of these, and they're often the fate of your tournament and final table life depends on these kind of decisions and getting them right or wrong.
I played with Ash for pretty much all day yesterday. During day 2 of the tournament, he was to my left, had a pretty large chip stack the entire time. Solid player.
Yep.
I mean, he knows his ranges. He knows the situations.
He's going to get this one through.
And they did get it through. Guys, you're going to continue to hear Darren and I while the screen goes black for a little bit. We just have to reconnect about every 10 or 12 minutes just because of some of the internet problems, but we're back, so pay no attention to it. Again, as you'll see, guys, the chip count is on board, and we're going to talk about a lot of things today, Darren. We're going to have some fun. I know we're just getting started. We're going to talk everything from golf to beef brisket to et cetera, but I do want to talk about something that just did happen, right? So you'll see some comments in the chat. Pinebox says, Darren's being nice. He isn't limping any hands off 15, 60, 200. And, guys, we're not going to be judging anyone's play here, right? We're going to call the action.
Yep.
But let's talk about limping strategy. So when do you employ an actual limping strategy in tournaments? Do you ever? Like, that used to be something that occurred all the time 10 years ago, right? But you rarely see it today. But in tournaments, are there any situations, any different stages, any different dynamics that lead you to say, you know what, I'm going to deploy a limping strategy for any reason?
Yeah, absolutely. As we see here, 3 king-queen suited going to war here. But
you know a king's coming on the flop.
yeah, look at this. Is interesting. But the most common situation where you'll employ a limping strategy is going to Henry here from Orlando. He's been playing since 2003. Moneymaker boom. His best ever tournament finish, World Series event number 42, and proudest accomplishment outside of poker, his 2 kids, which we can relate to.
We can 100% relate to. Darren with 2 daughters, myself with a daughter and a son. And here we go. A disciplined fold, I'd say, by Tyler with king-queen suited. Obviously, all of them were suited. We had hearts, spades, and clubs.
Yeah, but here you see the wonder of pot odds, where the decision for the player here on the button with king-queen is a lot different than the original opener, because now he's got that dead money, and queen suited is doing just fine again.
Absolutely.
So I don't blame him at all for making this call, and Henry just kind of found a dream spot here. Let's see what comes. I don't think we're going to see many kings or queens.
So Henry is at risk of busting from the tournament with his aces.
He still finds a
He's still, I mean, it's guaranteed, right?
Look at his. He's got one out here in the corner. Everything's dead.
Will the one-outer come to knock Henry out of the Daytona Beach 200K guaranteed tournament?
Yes. A little celebration there for.
Pump it up, Henry. Let's go. That's how we
nice
go.
double
Darren is. Darren, you were on it with the player profiles and the sound effects.
I'm abusing the soundboard. Sorry, guys. Here,
Oh, abuse the heck out of it.
First time.
Chat, let us know if you hear these sound effects because we think you do, but we're not sure. Big double for Henry, who now is at 5 mil or 33 big blinds.
And Kevin now down the short stack with 7 big blinds here.
All right, so let's talk about Daytona Beach Card Club for a little bit, right, between this next hand.
Absolutely.
You may have noticed that last year this time they did do their first ever live stream. It was a tournament of their second biggest multi-day GAPT event, which was a prize pool over $210,000, and that was like a $200 buy-in. That was their first ever live stream. Jamie Kerstetter from Above the Felt, obviously World Series of Poker commentator, came to Daytona Beach to shoot a commercial for the room and commentate with me on that final table. And now you're here, right? You're here for the cash game to play in and now commentate on this final table. And they are investing in live streaming here in Central Florida. So Daytona Beach Card Club does have their own live streaming table. They're refreshing the poker room, new layouts and cosmetic changes on the way. So I think over the next few months, you're going to see more of the same here at Daytona Beach Card Club.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of action, a lot of ambition out of the staff. People here that we may get some more big live stream cash games, some more bigger events, higher buy-ins, bigger fields. So I'm excited at what I've seen down here in Daytona.
Henry does raise to 600K with sixes, gets a fold from Steve out of the big blind.
Henry kind of ride the hot hand here up into second place, and you can see how quickly the things can change here at a final table with these stacks. Or one double. Henry's now up to second, third, in third place here from the short stack. So that's a huge swing from these 7 and 8 big blind stacks. So something to look at.
Blinds are 100, 150K for I think the next 20 minutes or so.
Looks like we get some Tyler Denson fans in the chat here. Kid's a beast, Bonafide crusher.
Tyler is a great player. I've played with him in many cash games here over the last few years, as a couple friends. Tyler did bust me from this tournament yesterday.
Oh.
So we are not rooting against Tyler today. Oh. Sorry, Tyler.
It's not a place for bad beats, Tom. But,
I'm not talking about it.
Tyler calls himself the greatest video poker player alive.
I don't doubt it. Okay. He's a pretty damn good poker player as well. So shout out to Tyler and his friends all in chat. One of the more regular players here at Daytona Beach and Orange City, and a strong player, definitely.
Yeah, as Kevin gets a shove through there with ace-6 suited. Nice pickup. So we're down to 8 players here. 8th place will receive about $8,500, and all the way up to first place getting $68,000. So we are looking at a bit of a top-heavy structure. So I think we'll kind of see these stacks fall a little deeper here as we lose the short stacks and get a little more post-flop play down the stretch.
V Blasty in chat says he can confirm that Ryan does smash royals on the reg in video poker.
Queen Jack off here for Q under the gun. We'll see what he comes with. A little fold.
I'm glad you're paying attention to the action, Darren, because one of us has to be, bro.
Absolutely.
I think we need some beverages. Is it beverage time?
I'm in.
All right.
Whatever you're drinking, I'm in, Tom.
Aaron looks down at ace-king, raises to 350K from the hijack. How did Aaron separate himself from the other players that you were playing against Thursday night in the cash games?
He was definitely willing to trust his instincts and play kind of outside the box. I think he made a couple ace-high call downs. Maybe one was incorrect, one was correct. I can't remember, but he was definitely confident in his play where he was willing to trust himself in the scenarios and kind of go against the book. And if you're going to play like that, it can either suit you or go against you. And I think it seems like it's working out here for him in the tournament as he c-bets the ace-king.
Roger did call a 9-7 suited from the big blind and decided to fold his gut shot.
There we see the clock, 17 minutes and 11. And there's our payouts.
Thank you, Eric. Want to give a shout out to Eric Anderson with the feature table, who provides a mobile live stream service across the country to different poker rooms. I know he's got a handful of clients that work with him to live stream their local tournaments or cash games, and Daytona Beach is a client of Eric's in the feature table. It's a phenomenal service, especially for some of the more local card rooms that don't have giant budgets to produce their own in-set live stream studio. You get a high-quality studio at an economical price. So check out the feature table online, and if your poker room is interested, shoot Eric an email.
Asher opening up the King 10 offsuit and playing with him the other day. You said he was in a lot of pots, active player, kind of what we're seeing at this final table where he's kind of driving the action here for us, which as a big stack is usually going to play into his favor.
Yeah, Tyler, strong player. Ash was also, I would say, a very strong player as well. And Aaron, strong player. These are just three folks I have experience playing with here in Central Florida. Not many of the others, but I do know those three are strong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we are getting a lot of graphics here.
Yeah, we hear you in terms of the graphics. It's an automatic setting in the software, and we'll take a look at that throughout the stream. But thanks for being patient right now, 100%. Beachside Breaks wants to know what the payouts are. First place, 68,445. Ninth place, 6,700. So there is a big gap. I think next out is eighth for 8,500, just about. Seventh place, 10,758. Sixth is 13th. 13,816. Fifth is right around 18K. Fourth, right around 24K. Third, right around 31K. Second, right around 42K. And, of course, just about 70K up top.
Old Man River here, open up the 7-8 offsuit on the button. Going to get through the small blind, but something to think about here when you're on the button and you're opening into an active loose player who has you covered in the big blind. You need to be careful with these sort of middling 7-8 offsuit type hands because these players, big stack active players, they're not looking to fold. So these are not players you're going to bully. So when you're kind of opening into these bigger stacks, you're often going to face aggression by either a call or a raise. It looks like Ash here dropped the hammer with a 3-bet. Maybe 1.5 million, somewhere around there. 1.4 million.
Good call. You're even ahead of the graphics, man.
Yeah. Ash, with a very aggressive play here, certainly would be in a pickle facing a shove for 3 million total with the Queen 8 offsuit where he would be priced in to call, but this is going to get through. Perhaps had a bit of a read here on the prospector.
Beachside Breaks. Will we see a famous Daytona chop 7-handed? I don't think so for this tournament, but I will say when there were like 45 people remaining yesterday, the chop was like 3,500. And a couple people asked about it.
The fact that they knew the number, I'm not happy to hear. I did hear murmurs of let's chop it up as I was walking in here, but I don't think we'll see it.
You guys will see the chip counts pop up after every hand or two, so we won't have to talk too much about that. So talk to me about your time in Central Florida, Darren. So I know you stayed at the beach. I know you tried to make it a family vacation, plus be here to play in the game and commentate and be promotion man for the weekend. So how was your time at Daytona, man?
Yeah, it's been great. Been staying down Daytona Beach with my 2 daughters, my wife, brought the mother-in-law, and a lot of time on the beach, in the pool, probably triple-digit laps in the lazy river, really putting in volume out there, and Bahama Mamas, you know, the usual.
Mai Tais, man. Mai Tais on the beach.
Yep. Q here on the button with about 20 blinds. See if he just shoves it here or opens it in. Raises to 350. First look at Kevin Thornton here from Palm Bay. Been playing poker since he was a kid. Licensed electrician. And his most unique aspect, how shiny his bald head is. Any comments on that, Tom?
Very funny.
Yeah.
Very funny.
We'll fold the ace.
I'm going to assume it's not as shiny as mine.
Yeah. Noteworthy fold there with ace 3 offsuit facing button open.
Can we go back to the guy that is the treasure hunter?
The 9-seed Old Man River.
Like, is that so?
Absolutely.
So here's the deal, chat, because we don't know if we were on stream when we were talking about this. So what's his first name again?
This is Roger Mars, a.k.a. Old Man River from Daytona Beach.
So whenever you hear Darren say Old Man River, like, that's literally his nickname. And what does it say about something you'd find unique?
He does prospecting and mining, hence the name Old Man River. It fits for gold and poker, so he's literally a gold miner and hunter, which I think is
I'm in. Like, I want to talk to him about treasure hunting. I mean, like, I see a lot of correlation between treasure hunting and poker play.
Yeah, certainly some parallels. I'd say you go out there and most of the time you get nothing, and every once in a while you find a pot of gold.
I want to find out if this guy's going to like Atlantis, if he's searching for the lost continent of Atlantis.
I don't think Atlantis is real, Tom.
How do you know it's not real?
I don't know. Well, that's the chat.
Chat, do you think Atlantis is real? I think Atlantis is real. It's there, man. It's just buried. You know who would know? Roger would know.
Yeah, we'll have to ask him on break about Atlantis here.
Q does raise to 350. Aaron does call from the big blind with 10-8 off. We have a flop of Queen Jack 6, 2 diamonds.
And Aaron with just enough of a piece here where I think he's not going to want to fold on the flop facing 1/3 or half pot c-bet here. Backdoor diamonds, gut shot, facing half pot. So we'll see how Aaron proceeds here. I'm curious. Q likely going nowhere with his top pair. And I like the call here.
Why do you like the call?
Well, I think folding's probably a little too tight, and the stacks are so where if he does raise, if he were to raise to 1.1, 1.2 million, you're often just going to face the shove from your opponent with top pair or better, and you're not going to get to see any more cards here. And queen on the river, Aaron normally would have to bluff if it bricked out here, but with the 8 of diamonds, he might think he has enough showdown value where he can check, and now facing a likely value bet here. We'll see if he can find a fold. Just 1/3 pot here, 600 into 1.8. So a bit of a sticky spot here for Aaron, getting a good price here, 4-1. So for our math wizards out there, you only need to have the best hand 25% of the time here to make this call. So Aaron kind of asking himself, am I getting milked here for the small value bet, or does the math say I should call? Diamond blocker kind of irrelevant because we don't think Q would check back a flush too much on the turn. So yes, we do have block the flush, but he'll pay it off here.
He does make the call.
Nice pot for Q.
I feel like we have to use the applause for everybody that wins
Yeah,
like
we're gonna
a well-played pot.
We're going to mix it up. We got a couple other ones in here for you.
If there's like a big decision, we've got this one.
Don't blow our... Save that.
Listen, I touched the controls, and Darren's really upset at me right now because he wants to be the only one in control of the sound effects, guys. By the way, Michael McDonald, thank you. Real. Michael McDonald says Atlantis is real.
What's it? Timex? We got the real. That's not my...
I don't know if it's Timex.
Okay. Confirm real.
Confirmed. And as you see, Ash has actually taken the chip lead just above Aaron, just about by 5 big blinds.
Yeah, from what we've seen so far, Ash kind of pushing his way around this table, a lot of aggression, and if he can stay out of tangling with Aaron here, the other big stack, I think I like what I see out of Ash so far.
And guys, we do have the table talk on. We know it is not as talkative as it was during the cash game, but again, like Darren said, tournaments tend to be a bit more quiet.
Yeah, usually you reach the final table of a big field tournament, and it's a little less lively and chatty than a nightly cash game.
Q does raise from the hijack with ace jack of diamonds.
Q on a bit of a heater here after that. Couple nice pots here. Kevin on the button, the electrician with a couple ducks. We'll see what he does here. About 8 big blinds, he's going to let it go. An ace-10 suited for Aaron in the small blind. A spot where with the stacks he could certainly 3-bet and place some pressure on the middling stack. We'll see if he comes with call or 3-bet. I don't think we'll see Aaron fold his hand. Looking like we're going upstairs here.
100%.
And the pressure, although Q has a nice hand here in the hijack, he's facing a covering stack, and he's himself probably in 3rd of 8 players. So he's facing what we call a bit of ICM pressure, where you're not in first, but you're in 2nd, 3rd place. The last thing you want to do is finish 8th when you have the 2nd or 3rd stack. So I don't think we'll see him shove here, but we'll see if he proceeds with a call or is going to let it go. In position, ace-jack suited, obviously a beautiful hand to play. He's going to let it go. So there you see ICM at work. Well done, Aaron, getting some of those chips back.
We do see some of the comments. Internet seems strong here. Seems like everything looks good on our end. So thank you guys for the feedback.
Yeah, I think we sorted out those technical difficulties. Should be good here on out.
Oh, man. Steve's looking for some hands.
little background on Q from Orlando. He's been playing poker for 6 years. And another one outside of poker, his proudest accomplishment, being a father to 3 beautiful
There we
humans.
go,
Shout
man.
out to the Q fam.
Dad life. So talk to me about dad life, right? I mean, we're both dads, 2 kids. Mine are a little bit older than yours. How have you adjusted to dad life as a professional poker player?
Certainly tough traveling, playing tournaments, a lot of time away. And when I'm home, I just try to make the most of it, really be a full-time dad, husband, and spend time with the kids. And then, because when I'm away, I'm playing long days, I'm focusing. It's pretty intense out there in the tournament streets. So when I am home, I do try to be as present as possible and spend time with them.
It's a job, man. Just like anybody going to work 9 to 5, it's their job. Or me and my 2 businesses, it's a job, and you got to balance your job with family. So Kevin does raise 400K with Queen 10 of diamonds in the cutoff.
Yep. Oh, facing a shove here from the big blind King 9. Yeah, this is about 5 big blinds, so this makes sense.
Before he even did that, I was going to ask you what your shove range is if you have like 10 or 12 blinds here.
It does include the King 9 offsuit here. So, Kevin, I think we're going to have to call off the last 675 here. And we'll see if the electrician can wire up a queen or a 10 here on the flop.
Man, this is impressive commentary. Oh, my Lord. Darren Elias, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Tom. But as you see, ooh, bad flop there. He was only about 45% there. And no help on the flop. Nor the turn.
Queen and 10. He's got 5 total outs.
Good game there, Kevin. He's going to be our 8th place finisher, I believe, and win
84.75. Not a bad return depending upon how many bullets he had.
Yeah, that's a lot of $300 buy-ins. So that's almost $30 buy-ins. So that's one-way players. Oh, is he still in? It says 100K.
Oh, well.
He may have been crippled. Yeah,
He's definitely
less than 1 big blind. Kevin's still in the tournament. Looks like he's got some anti-chips left.
All right, guys. So, again, we're just every 10 or 12 minutes, you might see this refresh like that. The screen will go black, and then it'll come right back. Don't sweat too much about it. It's just something that the system is needing to do right now. So when we do get back to the action, we're going to find out if he actually has, like, less than 1 big blind.
He does. I do believe I saw him with a stack of 5K chips or something, so he is still hanging on by a thread there. Looks like we got a lot of people in the chat here. Let us know who you're rooting for, who you want to see win this thing. So we've got some local players here, so some fan favorites perhaps.
We're back at the action. We do see Roger jam under the gun with ace-queen off for 3 milli.
Old Man River's going to run into it here with ace-king. Ash is not going to let this one go, so this is going to be a pretty big pot here, around 6 million. And perhaps Roger, maybe looking back here, will wish he min-opened this or just came in with a raise instead of sending in the whole 3 million here.
I feel it's a little premature to just jam. Maybe a 2.5 open, typically.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. Generally, early position, shoving 20 blinds, something around that. Usually, you're better off coming in with an open, just because there's so many people behind you. There's so many people that could have a good hand. So, as you see here, someone waking up with ace-king, when you have to worry about 6, 7 players behind you waking up with something, shoving becomes a little bit of a Russian roulette situation.
Although completely understandable, I've done it. We'll continue to do it.
Ace-queen, not
It's
a
just-
bad hand.
It's unfortunate he's running into ace-king.
This is the prospector here. We'll see if Old Man River can find gold. Needs a queen.
Roger's treasure hunting for a queen. 3 outs as it stands right now before the flop.
A little hand rub for good luck. Chop opportunities on 8-8-10.
You'll see 6 outs, any queen or 10 at the moment. Another 8. 7s are introduced.
9. So Ash going to take a commanding chip lead here as Roger's our 7th place finisher.
Very good game, Roger. So this is what I was about to say.
How about Kevin?
Did he
catching a
just
paychop?
Did Kevin just outlast Roger with his 2 big blinds? So think about that for a minute. In addition, you had some ICM pressure there. So
can we get a camera on the guy who just made $2,300 with 1 big blind? I'd like to see Kevin's face right now.
Where's that table
there
talk?
He is right there.
There's Kevin.
Shout out to Kevin there, picking up 2,300.
Good game, Roger, leaving 8th place, just about $8,500.
Henry goes by Hank. Good to know. Hank.
How about it? 2 big blind, 20. What is that?
That's the dream when you have one big blind. You really
$2,200 pay chump.
you almost want other people to get eliminated more than you want to double up, because doubling from 1 to 3 or 4 big blinds doesn't really do much for you.
We also know right now, thanks to Jennifer in chat, that Henry goes by Hank.
Great to know.
So this is good. We got Old Man River and Hank.
Well, Hank opening up the 10-7 suited here in the cutoff, and is going to get it through.
And we do see chat. Look, yes, there's a guy with 1 or 2 big blinds, but you got to remember, a lot of these folks, it's their first time at a final table. It's their first time playing in a live stream. They might not be studied in the areas of ICM and et cetera. So, are there better spots to get it in when there is somebody at the table for 1 or 2 big blinds? Absolutely, but different players have different levels of study, and a lot of times it's their first time.
Yeah, we're all learning out here. I think it's tough to hold anyone to perfect play here at a final table in a $300 tournament. So I think it's got to give people a little bit of benefit of the doubt here, as Kevin is all in with 10-8. And
Under the gun?
Under the gun.
400K?
Aaron, will he isolate or call here? He's just going to call with ace-5 suited?
I imagine I would just call with ace-5 suited. Hopefully you get somebody else with lower hearts come in. Or is that just bad thinking on my part?
That's very optimistic with the lower hearts behind. But Steve with a real hand here and about 15 blinds. This is a slam dunk shove.
That's Darren's nice way of telling me, shut up, Tom. You're thinking all wrong. This is why I don't do the hand analysis and you do. And why you do the coaching and I don't.
Mm-hmm. We'll see if Aaron's probably going to decision here. The 3-6 of clubs still in his hands.
Seriously?
Ash possibly feeling it here with the 6-3 suit. Oh.
No, he's out. Okay. Come on. He wanted some more live stream time.
I wanted some action.
Yeah.
Not a bad spot for Kevin with the dead money in there. So
Absolutely.
he will more than quadruple up here, I think, if he doubles.
And we know one of Steve's aces is gone.
Yep.
So let's see what happens. Can Kevin spin this up from 2 big blinds? He already had a miraculous $2,200 pay jump. Ooh, not looking good.
Tough break there for Kevin. He's going to need run. He could still find a chop with clubs or note the 3 clubs. Ash kind of sensed it was coming there with 6-3. He's kicking himself right
If only he was as optimistic as you, Darren.
in the big blind. I think it looks like fist pumps there. So
4 outs.
Kevin,
Waiting for the last card
I
graphic.
believe he's out
There it
for
is.
7th place.
Good game, Kevin.
Short-circuited there at the end, but good run. Nice to get the pay jump, and 7th place for Kevin Thornton.
Walking away with just about $10,800. Shout out in the chat to the Drawing Dead, Mr. Jamin Burton. Thanks for joining us, my man. AO to you too. Buy-in for the event was $365, ma'am. $387,000 prize pool. Sorry, $386K from a $365 buy-in event. Next time you got to come down to Florida, Jamin. I know the room would love to have you and get one of your popular poker vlogs going at the Daytona Beach card room.
Now we're down to 6 players here, and kind of stacks getting a little bit deeper. Should see some more post-flop play. I think 5 players over 20 big blinds, so we might see a little more post-flop action here.
And Jamin does say one of these days he's going to meet this Darren Elias character.
Absolutely.
100%.
Love to meet you, gentlemen.
One of the reasons I love that Darren is actually doing this commentary is because so many people that watch Darren on TV, they only see him in his very intense, very stoic personality when he's playing for hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars. But in real life, man, Darren's a ham.
Yeah, I mean, got to try to put your passion and take your work seriously. So I am probably in work mode when most people see me at the table. But outside the table, I like to have a good time, enjoy a little barbecue and a beverage from time to time.
Tore up some wings at lunch.
Yes, sir.
You ate a lot more than me, though.
Okay, shame. Wing shaming. Guy ordered 10 wings and can't finish them. Hank here with ace-9 suited under the gun with a little whistle. 600. 3x open here, noteworthy.
Q wakes up with ace-king suited.
Ace-king suited for Q and 20 big blinds. I don't see this going anywhere but in the middle. It's like a non all-in 3-bet. interesting off 20 big blinds. Looks like he made about 1.5. And honestly, a good hand to do it with ace-king suited if you are going to choose this kind of short stack, non-all-in 3-bet. Hands like aces obviously are good. And the next ones you want to choose are very good suited hands like this, ace-king suited, ace-queen suited, where you often have your opponent dominated. You will get the fold there.
He does get the fold. The screen will go black for a few seconds, and we'll be right back on.
He was suited there. Something to note there for Hank, opening to 600K at 100, 200, probably gets the similar result with an open to 450, saves himself 100, 150,000 when that does happen. Someone wakes up behind with a hand, so something to think about when he's back in the lab.
Again, guys, this is the live stream for Daytona Beach Card Club. Daytona Beach Racing and Card Club. It was their 200K guaranteed GAPT tournament. Prize pool of $386,000. First place with just about 70K up top. My name is Tom Wheaton with Faded Spade and Above the Felt, here with the GOAT, Darren Elias, and we have an all-in by Tyler Denson with pocket fives, and Q has a decision with ace-10 off. Oh, man.
Facing the 9 big blind shove. Cut off versus hijack. This one's close with the ace-10 off with the final table. Dynamics, ICM. Could see him go either way. We'll see. Q.
He does call.
Q finds call. And we're going to be flipping here.
Oh, hello. Hank.
Hello,
Hank with ace-king in the big blind and does shove all in for 4.5 mil.
Whew. So he's... So Q's got 1.8 in there and has to call another 2.7. Ace-10 offsuit, not the hand you want to go to war with here. So I think we are going to fold this one pretty easily. And Tyler here, instead of doubling up here, is now flipping to triple up. So
insane. Good
turn of events here for Tyler.
V Blasty in chat really wants a 5 in the window.
That's a little greedy here with the 5 in the window. How about 8-6-3? Does that do it for you?
Great flop for pocket fives. Old Hank has 4 outs.
He would have lost to the ace-10, but beats the ace-king.
And Tyler does triple up with the pocket fives.
And a huge pot there for Tyler, now up to almost $6 million. So it's crazy how that works, where you would have lost to the ace-10, but you beat the ace-king and you triple up.
So much about poker tournaments is about timing, right?
Yeah, and it's tough to get too upset about anything because so many things are out of your control. Like, you just make the best decisions you can and see what comes of it. And that's a good example there of you got pocket fives, you're all in, and what comes, comes.
A lot of folks in chat rooting for Tyler.
Yeah, that's
for you, chat.
Tyler had been playing poker for 18 years. Best ever finish was a $2,000 online bracelet event last year. We've played a few of those. Interesting events.
Those are. Do you play those often, like the ring and circuit events?
Not many of the circuit ones. Played a couple of the bracelet events this summer, the 7777 and the 3200, a couple of those.
You'll get down to the final table in those circuit events, and like everybody just has 15 blinds.
Yeah, but luckily they start you with about 1,000 big blinds, so you can play tiddlywinks the first hour.
Right.
Aaron, fold the button here.
So y'all may or may not know this, but Daytona Beach Racing and Card Club and sister property Orange City Racing and Card Club do offer table games, which I'll talk about in a minute, as Steve does wake up with ace-queen in the big blind after the king-2 shove by Hank. So let's see, can Hank stay alive and win this 40-60?
Wow, and fortune's turning quickly here for Hank, who from being in a good position there with ace-king, now king-2 and a foot out the door. He's going to be our 6th place finisher.
Shout out to Hank. I know Hank had some fans in chat. You are walking away with $13,816, again from a 365 buy-in. Heck of a return.
Yep, good run there, and just lost that big flip for 6 million chips, which you really needed.
So in terms of table games, you'll see here that I would say about a little more than half the poker room are poker tables, and then you'll see another section that are just regular table games. I didn't know this. But there's new rules in 2020 and 2022 for the table games. You no longer have to beat the dealer on bonus bets. So you've been sitting at an Ultimate Texas Hold'em table, and you put out the money in the bonus just to try and get lucky. And here, for some reason, it used to be where you had to beat the dealer. Now you don't. So I guess that brings a lot of value to people who do play those table games.
Yeah, I'm no expert in the games of chance in the pit, but that sounds like good news for the players. You don't have to beat the dealer in the pit, and it is interesting when you see rooms like that where it's half Ultimate Hold'em and half real player versus player poker games. So that is what you'll see down here in Daytona Beach Racing Card Club and Orange City, and kind of what we've seen down here is the bigger tournaments going down here in Daytona and Orange City with a ton of cash action over there.
Yeah, so even if you're not just a avid poker player, you want to come down with some friends, have some food and beverage at a restaurant, play some table games, you can. As you'll see, Tyler just does shove from the big blind with ace-king and gets it through.
Aaron perhaps wishing he was playing a table game there with the 9-2 looking to double down, but instead we'll lose that pot.
Play a lot of blackjack?
I have not. When I was a gambler in my younger days, craps was the game of choice.
Oh, man. Nothing better than going to Vegas with a bunch of guys, having a guys' weekend playing craps.
Make some friends, meet some new people, a bit of a camaraderie. It's almost like a team sport, when that point hits and everybody wins.
And then if you lose, you just commiserate with each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
You just drink more.
Yep.
Speaking of beverages, we have to get some beers back here. Who can we get beer? Eric, can you help us out, Eric? Get yourself one too, my man. That is Eric Anderson of the feature table, who is, I guess, our beverage runner right now. Thanks, Eric. I hope we don't have any technical problems while he's gone.
Ash here opening up the ace-5 suited. It's going to take that throw. And Ash in a kind of a commanding position here with 11 million. And although 9th to 8th pay jump only about $2,000, as we start to get down to 3-4 players, we're going to see more significant pay jumps where fourth to 3rd almost $10,000. And we'll see if he'll be able to exert some pressure on his opponents with these bigger pay jumps coming up because he does have the clear chip lead.
When you get into this type of position at a final table, or just any table that you're at really, where you have this type of commanding chip lead, how wide does your range become to what you normally typically play? Do you try and stay consistent, or do you adjust your ranges?
Well, as with 99% of poker strategy questions, it depends. But the important thing to think about when you have the chip lead in these sort of scenarios is who you're applying pressure to and how does it affect them. Where if you're sitting here 1 of 5, and Q has 14 big blinds, you can't really pressure the guy in 5th place. So you don't want to be going after the short stack because he doesn't really care. He's going double up. These other stacks with 30 big blinds, they're sitting there with 6 million. They're in a little more danger because they're already in a better position. So they don't want to go out in 5th here when they're sitting in 2nd place. So it's kind of depends, and it depends who you're playing against. Also depends strategy-wise, the psychology of the player you're playing against. Are they aware of these factors? Sometimes you get guys who just go rogue and want to go for the win, and those people are obviously immune to pressure.
Yeah, and I think, guys, that's great advice, right? Like if you're looking at open charts, don't just play like a robot and say the chart says to do this from this position with this hand. Like everything changes based on the players at your table, the amount of chips you have, and et cetera. So I think a good point of feedback is it all depends, and don't be afraid to adjust your strategy.
Yeah, don't be afraid to adapt. Always good to be fluid. Q finding the shove here with ace-4 off. Definitely a fringe kind of hand here. Button versus cutoff for 15 blinds. And Tyler, don't think we'll see him make this call. This is a close one. King-Jack offsuit.
He's making his call.
Tom betting he will.
I'm going to go ahead and say that Tyler does make
about
this call.
half of his stack to make this call and likely to be behind or flipping.
Oh, is it half? Okay.
Tom rethinking now.
Yeah, now he's out.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And a good shove there from Q to get that throw.
Yesterday, Tyler was making that call. Today, not so much.
Tom still seems a little bit sore about losing.
We didn't talk about it.
Yesterday.
Never talked about it.
Oh,
Never
I
talked
can
about the
sense it
hand.
now.
We're all good. Tyler's a good player. We're good. I'd rather be here with you,
Great quality time.
enjoying some beverages, watching some poker,
Mm-hmm.
talking to chat. Chat, we're here with Darren Elias, 4-time World Poker Tour champion. Pretty much every record you could have with World Poker Tour. So take advantage of him being on stream. If you have any tournament questions, or even if you just want to know anything about him, feel free to. Oh, man, this is great. Chat, Eric and Joseph LaRosa, the poker manager here in Daytona, just walked in with a handful of beverages. This is
Bud Light,
fantastic.
Stella.
I'll take whatever.
A Stella, yeah, sure. Thank you. Thank you, Tom. Take that.
This is what are you taking my beverage? I will just take whatever this is. Thank you, gentlemen.
Couple beverages for the commentators, and cheers back home if you're sitting at rooting for your favorite player, having one.
Aces.
Whoa.
Hello, in a small blind for Aaron. After what looks like Ash did raise from the button with Queen 2. 325 to call.
Let's see what size he comes with here. It's like around $1 million. 1.1.
Is there ever a situation where you think about just calling there?
You certainly could. There is some dynamic here where Ash is the chip leader, Aaron is in second. He will naturally not be going after the chip leader very hard. So he won't be 3-betting in this spot very often. So when he does, perhaps his range is stronger than it would be without anything. Ash
Posturing with the fold.
going to be in the muck there with Queen 2 off. A scenario you could consider flatting. It's tough. You got to weigh your options, and is Ash the type of guy to unload a huge bluff on you post flop? That's something you want to think about. The more the guy's going to unload on you, the more you'd like to be flatting. And of course, always running the chance when you flat aces there, they're gonna hit the board, and you're gonna be out in fifth because you're likely not folding post flop most of the time.
AKD1187 in chat says hashtag Team Spear. So there we go. So again, guys, we have 5 remaining. First place, $68,445, plus a seat to the next GAPT tournament. Second place, $42,500, just about. Third place, $31,000, just about. Fourth place, $23,500, and fifth coming in at just around $18,000.
Steve is a boss. Might as well give him the trophy here. Steve 8-3 off in the small blind here. See if he will. Just gonna walk it.
This should bring the payouts up, everybody. There you go.
Yep, and this was a $365 tournament buy-in, so you can see just by these payouts how many players made this event. How many starting days flights do we have here? I believe
I think there was three days and 6 starting flights.
multiple flights per day, so this was a really massive event down here at Daytona Beach Racing Club.
1,287 players. Yep. How do I now get that off the screen? There we go. Thank you, Eric. Eric from the feature table doing some consulting while the commentators mess with buttons. Got it, okay.
We are still playing 100, 200 here.
WV King 304, that's right. Every decision now is absolutely massive. Not too big a pay jumps between 9 through 7, but once you get down to these top 5, top 4, we're dealing with some serious cash. MD, we see your comment. Trust me when I tell you that you're going to see more and more of these over the next 18 to 24 months, especially with them investing in their own live streaming table and a lot of the poker room cosmetic changes. So, yeah, absolutely. You will see a lot more of these tournaments, different varied buy-ins. And it wouldn't surprise me if next year you start seeing actual series where you have tournaments with different types of buy-ins for different types of bankrolls.
Yeah, a lot of ambition from the staff. And like we were saying earlier, Florida definitely leading the charge in the U.S. in the terms of live poker tournaments, guarantees, big events. And we may see some new things next year out of some different players. But right now, Florida's got a lot of the best events.
But who has the best barbecue?
Texas, I think.
Seriously? You think so?
I think you got to go with Texas there if we're talking barbecue. Seafood? Oh, piping up for seafood. Florida's got some.
I'll go Florida. You got to have that sweet king crab, though. None of that lobster.
My Alaskan king crab, personally.
All right, guys. I want to take a look at Vpip. Not that it matters too much for a tournament because so much is dictated by stack size. But you'll see Ash is, without a doubt, the biggest aggressor.
Yeah, my money would have been on Ash there, leading the VPIP. And as you see the other players, 18, 14%, pretty snug, but really a product of the situation and how they're forced to play because of the final table dynamics. But now that we're at six-handed play, we're at five-handed now, we're going to see those numbers go up where you can't play 18%, 14% VPIP five-handed and survive very long.
And Steve thinking long and hard about what to do with King 8 under the gun.
Gonna let that one go. Had a guy with smaller diamonds there behind him, so perhaps he should have played, Tom.
Well, you know, we can see the cards, Darren.
Maybe a limp.
Why are you so pessimistic?
And higher diamonds here in the big blind, so kind of a
See, that wasn't so wrong
diamond
before.
fest in here. We'll see if Aaron checks or proceeds cautiously against the chip leader. We'll put in the ISO. And this is kind of knowing your opponent, where if you're playing against a guy who's not going to limp raise you very often, if he's always going to raise his good hands from the small blind, it's kind of a green light there with ace-5 suited, where if you're playing a balanced player who has a lot of limp raises, you'd hate to put in that raise with ace-5 suited and then have to fold when he shoves, and you don't even get to see a flop against pocket fours or king-queen or something like that.
I love it. Never even thought about that. Hope you're taking notes, chat. This has been an awesome experience with Darren Elias in the booth here. My name is Tom Wheaton with Faded Spade and Above the Felt Entertainment. Darren Elias here for the weekend, promotional weekend at Daytona Beach for their $200K guarantee tournament, which finished with a $386,000 prize pool. Tyler Denson, under the gun with pocket nines, 5.7 mil. Let's see what he does. I give it about 3-2-1 before chat starts clamoring for a 9. Let's go, chat. Where are those Tyler Denson fans?
Only 1-9 left here at Q has ace-9 suited, and it's going to shove and be in dire straits here against pocket nines. I do not think Tyler will be letting this one go. Darren, you limping whole range there from small blind at 30 blinds. No, I don't think we're going to limp all of our range, but what you will see is a lot of mixed strategies where we're limping sometimes with a lot of hands, we're raising sometimes, we're calling sometimes, and that's kind of the direction those small blind versus big blind strategies have become. And the advent of computers to kind of confirm those strategies has been helpful.
And this is a big decision for Tyler. It represents more than half his stack. Q hasn't been getting 2 at a line with when he's putting chips in the pot, so I understand why he's thinking about it.
He's still going to call here. I think
it has to be a call, right?
16 big blinds.
Got to be a call.
A little pump fake there out of Tyler.
Is there a pump fake sound effect?
Let's
do the heartbeat. Oh my God, what is that? We getting down? Might want to push the button again so it stops.
Just go indefinitely?
God, for God, just
we're not going to hit that one again.
It.
But Tyler calls and holds on the 5-5-4 flop so far. 2 outs for Q. Chat going off, no ace.
V-Blasty in chat going absolutely cray-cray. And
deuce,
the deuce on the river does give Tyler the win.
So Tyler going to, I think, run it up into second place stack there. Q is our 5th place finisher. Well played out of him. Definitely was not afraid to get it in the middle. Played aggressive, strong poker, and will receive about 18 grand for his efforts.
Well played, Q. We're down to our final 4. Chip stacks evening out. 68-4-4-5 up top. Let's talk about Vpip a little bit as it pertains to cash games. So your cash games, when you played on Thursday, your Vpip was right around 33%. Can you explain what Vpip is for folks in chat who might not know what it is? And is that something you actually actively think about while you're playing?
I mean, definitely not something I'm thinking about when I'm playing live poker in the aspect of the phrase Vpip or those numbers have never entered my head while I'm playing live poker. But it means the percentage of the time you voluntarily put money into the pot. So that's a little acronym there. So it doesn't count when you're in the big blind. But in other scenarios, how often do you want to play? How often do you want to see the flop? And I think most players you'll probably see somewhere between 20 and 35%, somewhere in there. This 4-handed game, you're going to need to be playing somewhere around 30-40% minimum. So something to think about, and it does vary by position, where under the gun, your VPIP should probably be low, maybe 10-12%, something like that, maybe 15. On the button, VPIP probably upwards of 40-50%, as it's a different situation. And then obviously we have this global VPIP number, which you're seeing, which combines all the decisions.
You just saw Ash raise with pocket 10s, take it down. Shout out to JT, Dealer of the Year from Paul in chat. I will say I've played a lot of poker in a lot of places all over the country, and the dealers and the service at Orange City Racing and Card Club and Daytona Beach Racing and Card Club is absolutely top notch. So shout out to JT.
Fantastic. Love what I've seen down here in general. Daytona, bit of southern hospitality, I'd say. I wasn't expecting friendly people down here everywhere I go. I really have enjoyed my time down here. JT slick haircut. Can we get a look at JT? Steve here, going to open up the King 9 off on the button. About 25 blinds.
Jen Frankenstein Harris, first live stream in January, had 1273 players, almost exactly size of this one. You're 100% correct. And look what raising the buy-in just about 165 does. It really doesn't diminish the amount of players and only raises the prize pool. So I think you're going to see that trend continue here in Daytona as Tyler does jam ace-king diamonds over the top of Steve.
And this one will get through.
And it does get through. Yeah, very good call out, Jen.
Why was the cell phone confiscated? I think any time you're on some kind of live stream here with cards, and you're really not allowed to have your phone at the table. This is pretty uniform across all poker venues where they don't let you have your phone at the table at these big final tables with all the electronics going on.
Here are the payouts for the remaining 4.
These guys are all guaranteed 23.5. Not bad for a $365 buy-in. I'm sure nobody is disappointed here, although they all like to get the win. Steve with ace-4-0 in the cutoff, effectively. He's going to raise. And then it is something to note, as players get knocked out and you're becoming short-handed, although this says under the gun, if there's only 4 players at the table, he is effectively the cutoff now.
And that's correct, guys. There is a 15-minute delay. So Darren and I are commenting on the actual delay. We are not commentating on the live game at all. What you were seeing and hearing is all based on a 15-minute delay.
Ash calls a small blind with 2 5s, and Aaron wakes up in the big blind with 2 9s and about 32 big blinds. So we'll see what he comes with here. That is a good play there.
Aaron does shove all in for a 6.6 mil. Just a matter of time before Steve folds, in my opinion.
Yeah, and Steve learning kind of the hard way here why a lot of players won't open these ace-2 off, ace-3 off, ace-4 off type hands in the cutoff, where you've got 3 players behind you and having that low dangler really offsuit, not what you're looking for when you're opening into these, and you kind of need to limit that offsuit ace opening range a little bit.
So let's see what Steve does. I will say, playing with Ash for the majority of the day yesterday, he was a bit more loose when it came to his jams over the top of folks, but did have a very, very tight calling range. So I'd be surprised if he did call 5s here.
Yeah, it seems like he's the type of player likely to get in there and mix it up a lot, but when a lot of chips are going into the pot, seems to have a good hand. No one was suspected of anything. I think that was just protocol there for the chat.
Yeah, 100% protocol, guys. 100%. Steve in the tank here, under the gun with 4 mil.
Does he still have cards? It looks, I can't see. Really tortured fold here with ace-4 off. I think this is going to end up in the muck. Yep, there you go.
Yeah, there we go.
Yep.
And Ash may have already made his decision, which he did not. He's got some chips out to call, but I just don't see him doing it based on play yesterday.
This would be a huge pot if he called. I mean, I wouldn't put it. This one's more likely to call than the ace-4 off, but I think he's going to let this one go. One of those spots where if you do call, you're hoping to be flipping.
You know, these low pocket pairs are such a potential leak for so many players, right? I mean, I know it's taken me a long time not to overvalue them. What would you say to folks who just see like a pocket pair like this, don't think about the situation and just feel like, I got a pair, they probably don't, let me get it in? You got to think a little bit deeper in terms of many times you're a flip at best.
Yeah, you're obviously, going back to before, it does depend. It always depends.
Always.
And it depends a lot on the stack depth, where at some depths, these kind of small pairs play great just to sneak in the flop cheap and set mine, kind of invest a little for the hope that when you do hit your set, you'll win a big pot. But as you get to the shallower depths, 20, 30 big blinds, position depends a lot, where you can only play certain pairs from certain positions, or only should play. I mean, you can do whatever you want, obviously. But play pretty well as reshoves, and player opens in late position, and you've got a small pair. They're a pretty good candidate to shove in for 15, 20, 25 big blinds.
You actually gave me some really good advice during one of our first little coaching sessions where I was talking to you about those middling pocket pairs being a leak for me, because if I play them, I get attached. And your advice was, we'll stop playing them from those positions, and you won't be attached anymore.
Yeah, if anyone's watches a lot of poker on TV, higher stakes, you'll see players early position just put 2s, 3s right in the muck. They don't even open them.
Yeah, that wasn't even a part. Okay, Aaron does jam small blind and big blind with ace-3.
Fine play here. I think Steve's going to be in the muck. Pretty impressed with what I'm seeing out of Aaron playing good poker so far today. I like despite being a cash game player, he seems to have good feel for the tournament dynamics there. Found that shove with 2 9s and is up to 3rd place here. His stacks are Tyler really creeping up on Ash a little bit, chip count wise.
As this refreshes, what are some of your thoughts when people say, "Oh, tournament poker is such a different game than cash game poker"?
Well, it's tough. I think players do kind of hide behind that a little bit where, oh, I'm a cash game player, I'm not very good at tournaments, or vice versa. And it's really just a matter of stack depth and big blinds where I think any elite tournament player, if you put them in a big cash game, they're going to win. And same with cash games to a certain point. I think at deeper depths, early in tournaments, cash game players are going to be very strong because most cash games are 100, 200, 300 big blinds deep, which is similar to the tournament. So it is still the same game, but there's going from cash games to tournaments, there's probably a little more study involved because of the short stack specifics.
I can 1,000% attest to that.
The pre-flop antics under 50 big blinds.
And Aaron is putting on the pressure here on the button with Jack 10 off. He does get a call from the small blind in Steve with King 4.
Ooh. See how Aaron proceeds here, how much pressure he puts on. I think we'll probably see a flop c-bet and a call, but will Aaron really put the heat on him on the turn and river here? And he has to think, how many aces does Steve really flat from the small blind with this stack? And perhaps his range, when he does check call this flop, is weighted more towards kings. Always still a difficult spot to pull the trigger all the way when your opponent can just be holding trip aces. So we'll see. I'm interested to see where this goes on the turn.
Steve does make the call.
And probably card removal wise, not a great candidate to have the Jack 10 here when you're bluffing, because you're actually blocking your opponent having King Jack and King 10 hands. Maybe perhaps he folds, and your opponent probably never has Ace Jack or Ace 10 because he would have been in pre-flop. So removal wise, probably not the bluff candidate you want. I'm assuming Steve would fold King Jack or King 10, but I could be wrong. Wow, when he gets it down on the turn.
Graphics are a bit behind, but I believe it does go check all the way to the river.
And Aaron with a quick give up there on turn and river, huh?
Yeah, which makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you really ahead of? I mean, when he's calling with his amount of actual big blinds left, you got to give him some credit.
Sure, I think you're going to be facing king a lot there and can proceed accordingly.
We're down to 4 players here at Daytona Beach Racing and Card Club. I don't even want to call it the 200K GAPT tournament because let's just call it the 400K. Very close to 400K prize
doubled
pool.
the guarantee here. And, yeah, that guarantee never stood a chance.
And this is what's so beautiful here, where Aaron's been putting on the pressure. Now he has a real hand under the gun with Ace 10 of hearts, and do any other players give him credit for having that big of a hand four-handed?
Yeah, I mean, Ace 10 suited, pretty real hand in the cutoff. Ash undeterred with the 9-6, going to defend. Nut flush draw here for Aaron. Ash with not much going on here. Little backdoor heart, 6 high, backdoor straight.
I'm amazed at how quick you read and evaluate the holdings.
Well,
compared to how my mind works.
This is the only thing I've done since I've been 16 years old. So if I can't change a light bulb, but I can read a board pretty quickly, tell you what's going on.
All right, guys. So that is a Jack of Hearts turn. So Aaron Spear does smash the nut flush draw. Ash does check to him.
Ooh, that looks like a big bet there. Is that 2 million or 500?
All right.
200K.
And Aaron does take the pot down. X the 2 Pump Jump X. Okay, awesome name. Just saying. Pretty cool to watch this happen where you work in a tiny town of Daytona. We agree, man. And I think that's just an example of how Daytona Beach Racing and Car Club is investing in their poker room, investing in the player experience. I will tell you, being a player here since it opened and at Orange City, they do care about the player experience, and they want to make sure that the folks who do spend their time to come play here, they want to give them a great time. And they appreciate them 100%. And I think you're going to see over the next year and a half, like we were talking about earlier, more series, more tournaments. I think the cash games at Orange City are going to continue just to be action-packed. And you're going to see Daytona Beach and Orange City Racing and Car Club put themselves on the map in ways they haven't during the rest of 2022 and 23.
Yeah, absolutely. Enjoyed my time down here in Daytona. First trip playing poker down here. Impressed with the cash action, and excited to come back. Hopefully bigger and better things coming. Check here. Aaron's starting to get a little bit going on here with the nut flush draw and gut shot. Ash trying to steal it a little bit here with the 10-8, 10-high club. Club would be interesting on the river here. Disastrous for Ash. Ace on the river. So is this a card Ash will bluff? Will certainly get called if he does. And judging by the action, you really don't put your opponent on an ace too often here from the small blind. Aaron checked pre-flop. He checked the flop. He called on the turn. He shouldn't have too many aces, so I wouldn't be shocked if Ash tried to steal this pot here, because he's not going to win a showdown with 10 high, and this is going to get snapped off.
The bet makes sense. The call makes sense.
Yep.
And on to the next one.
Can't blame either one of them. I think that puts Aaron in the chip lead.
Blinds are 100, 200 with a 200 ante. There is going to be a break in 5 minutes, so we will likely go to a break as well.
There you see the chip counts. Everyone around 40, 50 big blinds, and Steve, our short stack, with 23. Still very workable stack, especially compared to what we saw earlier. I think we have 40-minute levels here at this final table, so a good structure they put together here at Daytona, especially for this level buy-in where $365, 1,300 runners, and you still get good play at the final table is great.
100%. Strong final four.
Yeah,
we were talking about these 3 guys beforehand, right?
Kind of seem to be the guys playing with the most confidence, which is something that's pretty important at these final tables. Can't speak to all their fundamental understandings, but obviously these guys are confident players, and that goes a long way. Ash getting busy with the 5-4-0, and Aaron folds King 7 suit in the small blind. Steve likely out of here. The old classic, the guy rolls over 9 high in the big blind, and you had worse when you opened.
Yep. So during the cash game on Thursday night, the one thing I really remember is everybody was worried about the slow roll. Apparently, you were playing with a bunch of players known for slow rolling.
Yeah, the Orange City crew, notorious slow rollers. The one guy asked ahead of time for permission to slow roll, which I gave
it to him.
I gave him, but a scary situation in a big pot when you're value betting against the guy who you know is going to slow roll you.
Well, I remember you had trips, and
I had trips, but it might not be good.
He might not be good, and you did bet the river. He did call, and before you even thought about it, it was against the slow roll guy. He just stayed there. You just kind of stood pat.
A bit of a sweat there, even when you think you have a good hand, which is fun, and I don't mind that from time to time.
Aaron on the button with ace jack does raise it to 450. Let's talk about these raise sizes, right, in tournaments. I see 3x. I see 2.5x. Obviously, we see the 2x a lot more now. Like, what is the strategic thinking here in terms of through the years you've seen like the standard open go from 3 to 2.5 to 2? Like, what's the rationale behind a lot of that?
It's most of it's a product of stack size and depth, where at shallower stacks you want to be raising smaller. So you'll see a lot of min raises or 2.1x or these little over min raises at shallow stacks. And at deeper stacks, you'll probably see bigger raises, closer to 3x. A lot of times early in tournaments, I'm opening to 3x, maybe 3.5x, something like that. Where at this stage of the tournament, if you were to open to 600, 700K, I'd say that's probably making a bit of an error, where you can get the same done for 400. And a lot of that comes from players shoving over you, where you just have to you open it and you have to fold to the shove, and instead of losing 600K, you're losing 400K, which is a big difference at this stage.
Or in Daytona, early in the tournament, you're opening to 5 and 6X and getting 6 callers.
That's good too.
Multi-way pot, baby. You don't see many multi-way pots here at this stage at the final table. Obviously, pre-flop and heads-up play is so important. And here,
Bit of a cooler in the blinds, I think. Check on the flop there.
we have
So
Tyler check his ace-3, yeah, and Ash.
Ash checks back to 6 here, so this is interesting because he's going to show some aggression later in the hand. So he's calling here, kind of setting the trap, and I think we're going to see a raise on the river. And we'll see how Tyler reacts to that, because if I'm in Tyler's shoes and I'm in these spots where players take these kind of delayed raise lines, I often ask myself, would they really bluff with this line? So we'll see how much this trap really wins them. You have a 6 here. He's surprised, but this could have been a huge pot, I think, if Ash bet the flop.
And it goes back to our conversation, right? They're the 2 chip leaders.
Yep.
So, while I'm surprised that Ash did only call with the 6, I kind of understand it.
Well, I think he bet the river. Tyler actually checked the river, and Ash bet and was called. But
Did he really? Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to see that 6 bet on the flop there and stab.
So here you go, Aaron and Ash with 50 bigs.
Probably our last hand for break, I would guess. Hand 51 of the final table, so these guys are at a blistering pace, which we love to see pace of play here. Generally pretty good in America, great in Florida, and
When we come back from break, let's talk about the World Series of Poker final table and the, 18-minute decision?
I heard 19 minutes.
We
on
need
the
to
river
talk
the guy
about that.
take.
We
Yeah.
got to talk about that, speaking of pace of play.
Sure.
Guys, we are going to go on break here for a little bit. It'll be about a 10-minute or so break. You're going to see our break screen, but we don't want you to go anywhere. Hang tight. We appreciate every single one of you who are in chat with us on Twitch or Facebook or YouTube. Darren is absolutely obsessed with the sound effects. He's been giving phenomenal analysis all stream. So come on back, guys. Get into the mind more of the leading WPT champion, Darren Elias, and see our Final Four play for $68,445K up top at Daytona Beach Racing and Car Club.
See you guys soon.